Welcome back on TI Media. I'm your presenter Lamin Jagne with this very special show called the Diaspora. Confederation of Gambia Students Union Abroad under the leadership of Habib Jagne in Morocco has expressed his concern regarding about the COVID-19 relief package, which was announced by the Ministry of Finance on April the 30th, 2000. Habib wrote on his Facebook page, I quote, Confederation of Gambian Student Union Abroad is not prosecuting or attacking the government, not obsessed with the relief package. We want to know, to set the record straight, hashtag transparency, hashtag accountability, what happened with the money. We want to know since our names were used to gain these funds. On the line from Morocco, I've got Mr. Habib Jagne, who's the president for the Gambian Students Confederation in Morocco. And I've also got Muhammed Lamin Jagne, Muhammed Lamin Janeh, my apologies. Muhammed Lamin Janeh is the former secretary for foreign affairs for the Gambian students in Sudan, and now the first secretary for the Confederation Task Force. Gentlemen, welcome to the Diaspora. Mr. Habib, if I may just start with you, the president yourself, can you please kindly tell the viewers how many students are in the diaspora, Gambian students, who are funded and non-funded students in the diaspora?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Janeh, and thank you to the TI Media, the Diaspora. Before I start, I'm the president of the Gambian students in Morocco, and the second secretary. We are yet to have an official functioning, but we have a spokesperson, which is Jagne, which is unfortunate. He is yet to join due to technical issue, but he will join soon. So coming back to the question, roughly Gambian international students across the globe, it's about 3,000, but under the Confederation, we have about 2,300 Gambians.
So under the Confederation, you have under 2,300 Gambians. So when was this Confederation formed?
Well, it was formed in 2019 with the aim to unite, foster, and network Gambian students across the world.
So, Mr. Janeh, if I just come to you, if you can tell me what are the difficulties or some of the challenges that as a student, as a Gambian student living in abroad, I understand that you've been in Sudan for the past 4 years. Can you tell us what are some of these difficulties that you guys are facing there?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, viewers from Sudan. I'm very glad to be part of this show. And we, our students in Sudan, have been facing a lot of challenges, especially in the previous years. Okay, Sudan is not like any other country out there. Things in Sudan have been so hard. So students here are facing a lot of problems, especially between us and the government, because we are aspiring. We are expecting the government to come to our aid to solve our problems. But in most cases, we are not getting the kind of support that we need from the government. And when it comes to those supports, let me first mention our stipends. Okay, students in Sudan here receive $300 yearly stipends. That is $300 only. And we know that Gambian students elsewhere, like in Morocco, where Habib is, those who are living in the hostels receive $900 a year. And those who are living outside, who are renting, receive $1,200 a year. And for us in Sudan, we receive $200 a year. So we have been thinking that that's not fair. And we have actually tried to contact the government on this issue. Okay, so we don't know what's actually causing them to not to add our stipends, because if you look at it, we need stipends more than, I would not say more than any other Gambian student out there, but our situation here is far more students elsewhere in the world. Okay, when you come to have an embassy here, or embassy here, so we have been trying to engage them so that we can have at least a consulate here in Sudan. But still now we have not gotten a consulate, and that is why students all over the world have received their stipends and COVID-19 support funds. But for us in Sudan, we have not received them yet. Why? Because we are dependent. Sudan here, we are linked to the Gambian embassy in Saudi Arabia. And because of the COVID-19 crisis, those people cannot travel to Sudan right now. Okay, so we have been trying to get other means so that they can send us the money and we can receive it here in Sudan. But recently, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs actually contacted the embassy in Saudi Arabia, telling them that they cannot send the money to Sudan without sending it to a bank.
Now, what I will do, sorry to interrupt you.
So those are students here are complaining. They are really in need of this money, and we need the government to come to our aid in a way that we can get this money as soon as possible, because students are they're just frustrated. Okay, they want to get their money. Other students have gotten it. Why not us now?
So, Muhammed,
they should have to help us in that.
Yeah, Muhammed, please, sorry to interrupt you, but I need to come in quickly again. I mean, can you tell the viewers how many Gambian students are in Sudan studying? Because you have mentioned figures. We will come to those figures. But can you tell us, Muhammed, Janeh, how many Gambian students are in Sudan studying there?
We have likely 170 students, 180 right now. I'm not an official of the union, so I am the former Secretary of Foreign Affairs for the Gambian Student Union in Sudan. So I cannot be specific about the number of students studying in Sudan right now, but I can say that it's around 170 to 180.
So, Babukar, coming back to you as the president of the Gambian Student Confederation in Morocco, can you tell us how many students are funded by government and the non-funded students in Morocco?
Oh, okay. But first, my people will beat you. It's an association, not a confederation, but that doesn't matter. So, we are 197 as of now, and then 80 are in campus. I mean, they are in the Moroccan campus, the dormitories, and 117 are renting outside, like myself.
So when you say 117 are renting outside like yourself, so during this period that you guys are renting outside, are you paying for your rental accommodation yourself, or is the government helping you in the Gambia?
No, to start with, I think it is sad that even the government do not ask, or officially, because I'm not aware, even whether the government have made steps to ask how is our condition there or not. But we are an association, and we are very much designed in a sense that we help each other in time of difficulties. So, and the fortunate part is the King of Morocco, Muhammed, thanks to him, he do talk to the landlord, and then he do give them allowance and pays them, so that the landlords will not force us or they will not send us out. But we will pay, that when we have some small amount, we pay. That some of us, like myself, our landlord, he will tell us, okay, now the king is giving some, so you just have to be, whenever you have to, you pay in 2-3 months time, and then you pay, which is somehow difficult. But the others are paying as normal. The landlord doesn't fool what happened with even the king.
So what I can understand from what you're trying to point out here is the Moroccan government, the king in Morocco, King Hassan, is helping the foreign students to facilitate their rents in Morocco. Is that right?
Yes, because during the inception of the pandemic, he do announce that he is going to help those renting, both the Moroccans and the foreign international students, so that there will be the payment of rent will be a bit easier on our side.
So we've seen on April the 30th, the Ministry of Finance Economic Affairs, in collaboration with Higher Education in the Gambia, has announced that a $29.1 million was out there for a relief package for the Gambian students, non-governmental and government students sponsored. When you hear this news coming out, just bear in mind that the next day, the 1st of May, the State House has confirmed this on their Facebook page. What was it like for you as a student studying abroad? Did you think that the money was coming to you guys straight or what?
Yes, indeed. We were jubilating. In fact, we are really happy that at least the government of the Gambia has think about us, and then maybe at least it's a help. You know, despite it's nothing when you compare with other countries or the $300. But they say no, it's a token of appreciation, and then we're really happy and are glad. Especially our parents back home, some were calling and saying the government allocated some amount for you, so it's going to be easy for you on your side.
So do you know how many students, or can you please tell us back, how did you get in contact with the Gambian consulate or embassy in Morocco to call you up to come and sign up for this funding that was already allocated by the parliament and approved?
Well, to say that again, as I said, no, we are not officially informed. I don't know whether officials in Gambia is having a problem or what, but we were unofficially informed during open hearing in the press. We know nothing about it. Our embassies do not tell us anything. Up to 11 May, when the embassy reached out to us, the students' unions across the globe, that you have to fill a form. And we fill a form in which our details and criteria were filled. which happened to all the countries. So that gives us a bit of our impression, and that gives us an expectation that, oh, the government are serious, that they're going to give us money. So we fill our details and then we send it to them. Ever since, no hearing again.
So when you say you fill your details and send it to them, was this required or requested by the Gambian consulate in Morocco in Rabat?
Yes, and they said it's from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs who sent them, who requested them to request our details.
So from there, how many of you, or do you know exactly how many students filled these forms to be sent to the Gambian consulate, which was then later forwarded to the Ministry of Affairs, Foreign Affairs, which was used to get this money from the Gambia government by approving it in Parliament? Did you know how many students?
Yes, one thing, I don't know whether it's a baffle or not, but we are very designed, and we take in our associations that all the details are electronic and then are updated in our website. You have all the students. So, and all the details that the ministry asks, we have them even before the COVID. So we just have to reconfirm them from each member, and then we send it to the embassy.
And when you send this to the embassy in Morocco, did you know how many of the students and exactly how much did they receive? Whether it was in pounds or in euros or whatever, or in dollars?
Yes, and we were unofficially informed again. We just heard that one student, it was unofficially informed that we, the executive, come to know that $300 was allocated to one person who is sent by the Gambian government under Ministry of Higher Education to do his master's degree.
So this was a student who was funded by the Gambian government to go and study in Morocco?
Correct.
So he received $300. How about the rest of the students?
We do not.
You do not receive nothing?
Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir. Welcome to TI Media. I am your host, Ndakuma, and this is my show, Senegambia State of the Affairs. On this show, we will be talking about politics, economics, socio-economics issues, but at the same time, entrepreneurship and any topic that affects our communities. So stay tuned because we have a lot to talk about, and I'm super excited to be part of this journey with you. Stay tuned. We are coming soon on TI Media.
So, Mamadou, if I could just come to you, in Sudan there, how was your information passed to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? Did you also get contact by the Gambian consulate in Saudi Arabia? Or how? Can you take us through and explain how did you get your information passed on to the Gambia?
Exactly. Thank you very much for that question. Last year, I was the Secretary of Foreign Affairs for the Gambian Students Union in Sudan. So I was at the helm of affairs regarding this COVID-19 relief issues. So the government of the Gambia actually contacted the embassy in Saudi Arabia, and then the embassy sent us a file. Okay, they sent us a file that is in a specific format where each student should have to fill their details in that file. So the file contains a space for your name, for your email, for your contact details, okay, for your university contact, for your faculty, and a lot of other issues. So we filled it here for every student that was residing in Sudan at that time, and then we sent it back to the embassy, and I think the embassy sent it back to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Okay, Habib, if I just come to you now, what exactly was said to you when you filled these applications in the Gambian consulate in Morocco?
Well, I think maybe it's becoming monotonous. We do not normally the information and nothing. They will just demand, okay, the Minister for Affairs requested your details, your criteria, and all of that. We fill it, we send it to them, and that is it.
Yes, so how long has this been going on so far since this was approved, since in April? How long has this been going on, Habib?
Boss, since in April, after sending our details, 11 May, we do not have any more information about it.
So can you give us a background information about the older students in other foreign countries, whether they have received any money?
Yes, just to do it quickly. For instance, when you go to China, 3 people received, who are the 2 are confirmed working on the Ministry of Higher Education. And the other one, we do not know actually, but he also have links. So that means a total of 3 received out of the 198 Gambian students in China. You go to Egypt, out of 72, none of them received. You go to Indonesia, out of 72, 65 received. You go to China, out of you have 62, if I'm not mistaken, 62 or 64 that received out of the 150 something. Sorry, I'm missing the point. You go to Taiwan, 50 students, none of them received. You go to Ukraine, they do not know how many people, how many Gambians are there, but none of them received. You go to Russia, out of the 37, only 25 received, and then the 12 do not receive. You go to Cyprus, out of 130 something, only 60 received. Likewise, Turkey, out of 200 something, 100 and something received. You go to Uganda, out of 38, all of them received in Uganda. In Cameroon, none of them. In Nigeria, 5 received out of the 67 or 68. And then you go to Ghana, also just 2 to 3 received out of the rest of the Gambian students. So basically, this is the brief data of the Gambians who received across the globe. You go to Cuba, none of them received. Saudi Arabia, out of 400 and something, only 232 received.
So it seems like there is a huge number of Gambian students out there, whether by the government or the Ministry of Finance. I understand that there is 3 ministries that you were dealing who went out, requested for this funding, and additional 20 million was also requested by the ministry. Can you tell us the other ministries that you've engaged, at least, to know something about this money?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I think the only 3 ministries. Yeah, I think the only 3 ministries that have been involved in this COVID-19 relief funds for Gambian students abroad, they are the Ministry of Higher Education, the Ministry of Finance, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Those are the 3 ministries that are involved. And when we compiled our report, we actually sent our report to these 3 ministries, including all the embassies that were involved in the distribution process of the money.
So do you have any proofs and evidence that you have been communicating or sending emails to them or even contacting them by phones to request or an explanation about the money?
Yeah, actually, first of all, we tried to compile a report from all Gambian student unions abroad, like the ones that are under the confederation right now. Okay, so when we compiled that report, we sent it through an email, okay, to the 3 ministries, and then we CC'd it to the embassies that were involved. And then later on, when we realized that they did not reply, then we tried to call them. Actually, there is one government official in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs whom Babukar, our spokesperson, has actually called and spoke with him regarding the issue so that they can reply to us.
So who was that person? Who was that person? Who was that person that you've contacted in the ministry to get access for this information regarding the money?
I think if Babukar is here, he would have been able to tell you his name.
Sekou Cisse to be specific.
And who is Sekou Cisse? For the viewers, for the benefit of the viewers, who is Sekou Cisse?
Yes, Sekou Cisse is the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
So you've contacted him directly?
Yes, we give him a call. And even before that, before the call, I personally texted him, introduced myself. He read the message and he didn't reply. I said, fine, maybe it's my person, maybe he is a personal, so he won't reply. So the task force, as Lamin lamented earlier on, so let me just brief it a bit, that after sending the email, that's the first email to the respectful authorities with a very diplomatic and professional way, we CC the embassies and the National Assembly and Office of the President. So upon 1 week, we do not have a reply. We said, okay, maybe they are busy. Let's give them a second follow-up. We give them a second follow-up. Oh, it was futile. We give them third. It was futile. Up to three follow-up. Nothing was useful. We said no. Let's try another method. Let's engage them personally and see. So when we called the spokesperson, Mr. Seko Sise, he tended to play a blind eye. He said he's not aware. Let him check and get back to us. And he never did. And that was around even the Tobaski. So we say maybe he's busy in the Tobaski. We are all along we are trying to be positive and have no ill feeling to the government. So he did not reply up to 1 week. That's Seko system. He called again, and Seko said yes, they saw the emails. And one sad thing he said, which come to our surprise, he said, I don't know whether his personal statement or from the Gambian government. He said the Gambian government only replies information when they are relevant. So if they are not relevant, they do not even bother to reply.
But did you also point it out to him that this was something very relevant, because this was money that the Gambia government requested from Parliament and it was approved under your names, you the students, and then the money was not received or anything like that? Did you also mention that to him?
Look, Mr. Janeh, the truth of the matter is not even about the money first. As a government official and working on the Minister of Foreign Affairs, even a single student abroad reach out to you, you should pay full attention and listen to his concern, because we are the biggest assets in the Gambia. So if they do not take us seriously, if the government of the Gambia do not take Gambian students abroad seriously, I am sorry, but we are not seeing a future Gambia.
I absolutely agree with you, which leads to my next question. In June, you also was on a radio show in the Gambia with the Permanent Secretary of Higher Education, Mr. Mot Seka. Did you have the chance to engage him about this issue?
Yes, and that was even the boot or the reason of the interview with the balance store. Unfortunately, I was present. Lamin here is present. Babukar also was present, and the president of China, Babu, was also present. And the journalist was all focusing on the relief package and who received and who don't received. But the permanent secretary even did not talk about who should receive until the journalist brought that question to him, asked him who is going to receive, because the journalist asked us in his presence, do we receive? We said, no, we do not receive. He asked Lamin another context about the data, and then we explained us how it is in the ground. So the permanent secretary said, and I quote, he said, the relief package is for government, non-government funded, that is the private students. That's what he said. So, and even Baba alluded to him that, but no, that was not in the press. The press is the government funded, non-government funded. According to him, I don't know whether that from his side or from the entire ministries, he said, then that might be a mistake, which I cannot digest. But he said that then if that is the case, that might be a mistake. And up to now, they never come out public and explain even if that's a mistake or was it deliberate.
So here are you dealing with three ministries that have went out there asking Parliament to fund Gambian students in abroad, but still none of them can give you at least a tangible explanation about the money or about the relief package. Already bear in mind that this money was already given out to them. Now coming to you, Muhammed Lamin, what exactly would you say, seeing the Minister of Foreign Affairs coming out last week talking about how the money was meant for students in China? How do you feel saying that?
Actually, I think I listened to that audio, that interview, and I think what he said there was, first of all, when the vice president of the country reached out to them saying that they should help Gambian students abroad who are facing a lot of difficulties based on the COVID-19 crisis. First of all, they tried to send aid to India, to China, but he didn't mention whether that was part of the overall package that they actually prepared for Gambian students abroad. I don't think he said that was part of the overall package that they prepared for Gambian students abroad.
So coming back to you again, what exactly right now, bear in mind, you've already sent some minutes, which is the emails, the communications that you have with the government. What exactly are you waiting to get from, what information are you waiting to get back from them?
Yeah, I think we have been very clear on that. In fact, if you have read our report, you would see that our report was very clear. In fact, we wrote some questions in that report that we want to be answered. Okay, and one basic question there is why are students' data taken, okay, for the relief package, and then later on they didn't receive anything. Because if we look at the issue, we can see that that data can be used to take money from the coffers of the state in the name of those students, because that data was very specific. Actually, our mobile numbers are there. Okay, our faculty names are there. Our university names are there. Lots of contacts, lots of very detailed contacts. So that money can actually be used to take money from the state or from the COVID-19 student relief package in the name of government students abroad. So we are trying to ask, okay, we want to be very specific here. Okay, we want them to let us know why student data is taken without actually them receiving any money. And secondly, the second question is we want to know a criteria, okay, that they use in the distribution of the money, because we try to study the criteria that they use, but it isn't much clear. And the criteria that they have put in the press release that was first divulged by the government on this issue, those two criteria, there were only two criteria. You have to be a government-funded student and a non-government funded student. But in this case, they are saying, okay, it's not for government-funded students. And we know that some government-funded students have received it. And in fact, most of the students who are on, most of the public servants who are on study leave, or let's say all of them, I'm not very sure about that, but I know most of them have received these funds, and a lot of other students have not received it. And thirdly, we want to know also, why did the National Assembly add another 20 million to the COVID-19 relief funds, while they might be aware that students are actually complaining that they are not getting this money. So I think they should have investigated first why students are not getting the money instead of adding another 20 million. Okay, and we have other requests as well. Habib, I think you can round up on that. I cannot remember some of those questions that we put on our report.
Well, it's unfortunate, before Habib comes in, it's very unfortunate that the National Assembly has decided to make another 20 million supplementary budget towards this funding, which they should have. I do agree with you clearly that they should have done their investigation whether the 29.1 million was delivered in the correct way before even going out to approve another $20 million for the students. However, coming to you, Habib, did you guys at least contact back your various embassies to ask about this money, because it's now taking long since April?
Yes, indeed we do. And you know, the embassies have strategies to tell us that we cannot even push them ahead. They will tell us, look, you know, we are robots and we just order execution. And the second thing is...
Sorry, can you say that again? Our embassies are telling you they are robots. They just carry on with executions. Is that what you just said?
Yes, even if they're not, but you know, that's the reality for foreign missions. They have no order. They cannot do anything unless it's sent by the government. I think you know that person. That's diplomatic. So that's how diplomacy works. They will tell you, if you have information, we will tell you. If you do not, we cannot speculate, or we cannot say have anything to tell you. But anything that we receive, so that's just a robot go. The ministry tell them, and then they execute it. They do.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir. Welcome to TI Media. I am your host, Ndakruma, and this is my show, Senegambia State of the Affairs. On this show, we will be talking about politics, economics, socio-economics issues, but at the same time, entrepreneurship and any topic that affects our communities. So stay tuned, because we have a lot to talk about, and I'm super excited to be part of this journey with you. Stay tuned, we are coming soon on TI Media.
On a final note, gentlemen, this is going to be for both you and you, Mr. Habib, and Lamin Janeh. If you complete your education are you guys willing to go back and serve the Gambia? Or if there's opportunity of taking a job overseas, will you go and do that job, or you will go and serve the Gambia? Sorry.
Well, starting with me, I obviously, yes, I have to go and serve my country, you know. But what I'm learning and what I'm seeing going into Gambia, to be honest with you, it's making me afraid. I'm really afraid, and I'm really desperate that seeing a Gambian government in which we say the new Gambia. Just to spare some minutes, you know, I think these are lessons I learned as a leader, and I believe our leaders too can learn from that. Or if they do it deliberately. It's first, the Minister of Higher Education, to be specific, it's very unprofessional and very sad. They don't have the data. To be specific, with the government student whom the government spend millions to billions of dollars to go and study, and you have no idea of who are they or whom are they. So that begs the question: how do they do the selection, or how do they send the packages, or how do they do the budgeting? Because you cannot do budgeting without knowing the people, or approximately, and the government do not know that, do not know that. And if we go to the National Assembly, also, how can you approve funds by just when maybe they trust the ministries, but at least there's an investigation going on. And just to make the records clear, we are not persecuting the government. We are not obsessed with the money. We are not attacking or any political bias. We just feel we are responsible citizens and responsible Gambians, so that in which we need to do. And just to put this clear to the Gambian people, and if the government are saying the package, it's for the government funded, they said that the government funded, those who are on the government funded are not going to receive the package. I just want to let these people know, and the Gambians know, the Gambian students who are funded, because you have more than 10 countries in which Gambians are, only few or 5 of them are funded by the Gambian government. And these people, they receive their stipend annually, and this is budgeted in December, January. So that have nothing to do with the COVID relief. To be quite clear and to be frank, the COVID money or the COVID package have nothing to do with our stipends. The COVID or not COVID, we will receive our stipend. So that should be clear, and the government cannot use any excuse that the 16.2 is for the stipends, because that was already budgeted. So that begs the question: did the government do double budgeting, or did the Gambian government budget about 16 million without having the data, or they did not budget for the fiscal year? Because if that's what is showing me, that the government did not budget our stipend up to the corona, and then there's 16 million. So all this transparency and accountability, we need to learn. I personally learned from myself that communication, information, having data, it's the key for governing or for leadership.
Very true. If I just come to you, Muhammed, Lamin, Janeh, last question to yourself again. Are you thinking of going back to the Gambia after finishing your education to serve the country? Or if there is a job that comes overseas, you'll be taking that up?
Yeah, actually, I think it's a responsibility upon us as Gambian students, home and abroad, to be there for our country when it needs us. Okay? And that's the same reason why we are here on your show today. Okay? We are not doing this because we are politically motivated. We are not doing this because we need the money, but we are trying to be truthful. We are trying to stand for something that is right. And that's why I am showing my face here on the media for Gambian people to see that I am actually concerned about this issue. Okay, because you cannot have a government that does not that is not replying or responding to the concerns of their own students, brothers and sisters who are studying abroad. They are studying abroad. After studying abroad, these are potential leaders of the country. They would come back to the country to lead. Okay, so I think you should set a good precedent for them. Okay, you should try to communicate with them in such a way that they will not be frustrated. But if the government is not communicating with us, okay, based on our concerns, then in that case, I think the country doesn't have a very good future, because we are the future leaders of that country. So if we are not recognized, if our value is not recognized by the government, then in that case, I think I'm very sorry to say that our future is very bleak, and then we have to work together to go back to the country and fix those systems that we have been supporting for a long time. Okay? Because since independence to now, the country has not developed much as far as I'm concerned. I think we could have been at a better place by now, but because of reasons like lack of accountability and lack of transparency, our country has been has been, those are some of the issues that are major reasons for setbacks in our country. And I think we Gambian students abroad, me, Habib, and Babukar, and a lot of Gambian student leaders out here, and those in the country at the UT, we should have to together and change the system and change the mindset of the Gambian people and change the whole system. I believe in that.
Without accountability and transparency, the Gambia cannot move. You heard it from Mr. Muhammed Lamin Janeh, who is the first secretary of the Gambia Confederation of Students Abroad. I mean, of course, with the president, Mr. Habib Jagne, who is the president of the Gambia Confederation in Morocco, Rabat. You heard from them. They're very concerned about this relief package that the Gambia government has required from Parliament to approve it, which was approved by the Gambia Parliament. However, and supplementary 20 million was also approved on top of the 29.1 million, but still most of these Gambian students haven't received the money. So the question lies now between the Gambia government and, of course, parliamentarians who are in Parliament signing these budgets and signing these approvals for Gambian on behalf of the Gambian people. I think it's a very high time that transparency should come in place. Investigation should be done on this money so that these poor Gambians like myself, like anybody who's out there, if anything is being put under our names, we should see it. They're not holding the Gambia government responsibility, or they're not trying to prosecute the Gambia government. All what they want to know is where is the money gone. Mbadingol atole amoy abota Habib le bulo Habib Janeh atemi alonka telam Gambian student soldi men be abroad ye president mbe Morocco kono ani Mamadou Lamin Janeh wafana telam ye secretary men be Sudan Gambia dingol le mi alonko be karankanne Gambia banko kono e Gambia bantala a Gambia government fentitay diamuta ko e surata naflo la mentata fo million monning kononto anin kilim pour que ma koy ñing covid-19 ñing kurang jankaro me sa dunia kono pour ise ma koy balal yamoy dal la Gambia dingol mem fongo nata jayi ba fogon hanisa man sakunda ye men jo yewol jole ban jamabe kono imejo hanisa nungi natala pour ko clear ka saniyandi Gambia be mom be yalla ngo ñama batay mbokay ñu sétane fi ci diaspora ay man la sen président Lamin Janeh yena degon kaddu yu rafet yu ak kaddu yu leer yu nonu ñaari xalé yu ndaw yu réew mi wax muy Habib Jagne bi nga xamné ni doomi réewi Gambia la nek président yi Gambia Confederation yi nek di jangal fene la ci Morocco ci Rabat di defal président bi ak Muhammed Lamin Jagne bi nga Janeh bi nga xamné tamit moy sen secretary bi feul ci Sudan ñoo leral yi nga xamné ni xaliss gogu nonu government Gambia bi laacé won ko muy 29.1 million bi dañ ko dimbalé ndawi réew yi di jang ci biti ba tay jotuñ ci ak tamit na parliament approved another 20 million ba tay jotuñ ci loolu lañ ñoon pour léral ko askan gi dinañ jël short break buñ délo sét nañ am another very special guest, a very important guest duñ wax rong way na buñ ñëw ci inshallah li ngeen ko gis ngeen di wa stay tuned with me your presenter Lamin Janeh on the Diaspora.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir. Welcome to TI Media. I am your host, Ndakruma, and this is my show, Senegambia State of the Affairs. On this show, we will be talking about politics, economics, socio-economics issues, but at the same time, entrepreneurship and any topic that affects our communities. So stay tuned because we have a lot to talk about, and I'm super excited to be part of this journey with you. Stay tuned, we are coming soon on TI Media.